on that. Dr. Bati, Herbert Wigwe.
We're really very sad. Yesterday there was that event celebrating Herbert Wigwe, a legacy of excellence. It was an occasion for mourning, but it was also an occasion for celebration. And there was that huge turnout of stakeholders in business and all, who worked with him in one capacity or the other, or who benefited from his genius, from his impact. We had, presidents who also paid tribute. President Olusegun Obasanjo, President Tinubu via a video message, President Emmanuel Macron, whose message was read, and also President Bill Clinton, of the United States, all paid tributes. In the case of President Macron, he recognized the fact that, look, this was a friend of France. He was, in fact, at a point, president of the Nigeria-France Business Council. And altogether, all the presidents who spoke recognized his distinction, his specialness, with President Tinubu underscoring the fact that Herbert Wigwe was one of those people, shining stars who helped to develop Nigeria and who excelled in his chosen field. And earlier on, of course, we saw the tribute paid by Alhaji Aliko Dangote of the Dangote Group, who spoke about friendship, about the character of the man who left us on February 9, and also gave personal testimony of how, I think to use an expression, how Herbert Wigwe on certain occasions helped him to untie certain knots, and who was a good advisor to him, and who supported his investment dreams, particularly with the Dangote Refinery. And he now said, the 120-kilometer road, the bigger part of the road leading to the petrochemical and petroleum refinery, will be named Herbert Wigwe Road. And we all listen to him. That this is a man whose memory needs to be preserved for future generations, to know that this was a man who pushed boundaries, a soldier of courage, a philanthropist of note. All the statements, the tributes by Alhaji Aliko Dangote, have been published in the newspapers. And then governors also paid tribute to him. The governor of Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who, made a point about how Herbert Wigwe was a friend and a colleague, himself having been a banker, at a point in his career, and how Herbert Wigwe always advised him. Governor Dapo Abiodun was also another governor who paid tribute. The governor of the Central Bank, Olayemi Cardoso, and then there were tributes also from ministers, including the Minister of Finance and coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Olawale Edun. And then, of course, his close friends and partners, Ige Mokwede, with whom he founded the Access Bank. And generally, of course, there was an acknowledgement that his life may have been short, but it was a life of impact in every area of life that he touched. Be it banking, having taken over the leadership of Access Bank in 2014, he turned it into a banking giant in Africa, and on more than one occasion won the African Banker of the Year awards. In education, he established the Wigwe University in his hometown of Isioko in Rivers State. He contributed to other causes, including sports. Under him, Access Bank sponsored the Lagos Marathon. He also supported the arts. The ATEX, exhibition every year was supported by, Access Bank under Wigwe's watch. He supported polo. He loved, athletics and sports generally. And then, of course, the lesson to be taken from his life is that, you see, this life, when a man dies, they will remember you for your good deeds. They will remember you for what you have done. The example of Herbert Wigwe is distinguished citizenship, excellence, life of impact, friendship, because people will always remember. We're told that he will be buried on March 9, on March 9, in his hometown of Isoko at the Lion of Judah parish of the Redeemed Christian Church of God in that town. Yesterday was a night of tributes in his honor. Today, I think this morning, there's also another event where tributes will be paid to his wife, Chizoba, and his son Chizi, both of whom died along with him in that unfortunate incident in the United States on February 9. May his soul rest in peace.
Very sad, very somber, but also it was a projection into a world of optimism and the can-do spirit and the fearlessness Herbert left all of us with. So this morning we will not mourn Herbert. We will celebrate professional excellence. We'll celebrate a heart that was large enough to give to everybody. We'll celebrate a heart that was large enough to share. The tears coming down from the eyes of people yesterday just solidifies the fact that Herbert was a man that indeed put a smile on the faces of everybody. And most importantly, like Dr. Akinwumi Adesina did say, he said apart from winning the race of life was also winning the race of heaven. And the fact that Herbert had a relationship with his maker while he was on earth, that's the essence of humanity, and that's the essence of our life. So after all is said and done, if you don't have a relationship with your maker, it's time for you to think about it. Because life is but a fleeting moment. It will pass away at some point. But the relationship we have with our maker who brought us here on earth is what we will hold on to in the very end. The best of us, like John Wesley, I think, if my memory serves me right, said, is when God is with us. What we celebrated yesterday was Herbert's purpose. There are two most important days in a man's life. The day he was born, secondly, and the day he found purpose. Herbert found this many years ago in the 80s when he started off working in the Capital Merchant Bank. But he had a purpose, and he said, I wanted to stretch beyond. At some point, as the story was told yesterday, he went out to do his master's in Wales, came back, worked with GTB, and afterwards rose through the ranks. And his boss was there yesterday, was very close to the two founders, Fola Adeola and also Tyre of blessed memories. And he and his very good friend, Igboje Mokwe, they decided to go it alone themselves. And they bought a bank and they started their journey. But they did not just stop at buying access. They extended towards buying other banks, Marina Bank, and they went on and on and on. And they made very many acquisitions that took access from a position of just a very small bank to a bank that is noted all around the world today. But while they did that, they impacted people, they impacted generation. We are given to charity. Polo has been talked about, the Wigwe University has been talked about, and which, as Herbert envisioned, should be Africa and Nigeria's direct competition and direct response to the Western universities all over the world. And one thing I can say for free is that he has sown the seed and it will continue to germinate. Today we talk about the likes of Harvard. But when John Harvard made the initial seed capital for Harvard, little did he know that was going to be a big university. And Herbert Wigwe has sown that seed. And Wigwe University will be talked of as it is the Harvard of Africa in some time soon. And he touched every aspect of life. Arts, which is the essence of humanity, did a lot of tremendous work as regards the National Theatre. Also, he did in partnership with, the then CBN governor Mefele. That was also a moving dynamo as regards that. also affected businesses. You can see Alhaji Aliko Dangote in tears because he shared a personal relationship, and something very instructive about Alhaji Aliko Dangote. When I did go to his parents' house, Alhaji Aliko Dangote had been there almost every day since this mourning process started. And that's to show the kind of relationship they shared. Obviously, his best friend, his brother in this journey, Aipoje Mokwede, was unconsolable yesterday. But while he looked at Herbert's children, and he said, you know what, we'll be there, we will walk with you all through the way. And that sense of optimism rang true. Herbert's story was a Lagos story, was also a Nigerian story, as exemplified there by Governor Sanwo-Olu yesterday. Breathing his first breath into life at the Island Maternity Hospital, but most importantly, touching every area of Nigeria. He was friends with kings. You can see Emir Sanusi was inconsolable there. And he was friends with ordinary men. And you can see that in the account given by his driver, Tunji, that said he came to work just driving for her, but afterwards he's been elevated in life that he has a master's degree today. Herbert's story is that story we can all hold on to. It's a reflection of what life has to be, the journey of purpose. And when all is said and done, what will be said about you?
Well, with all fingers pointing in direction of a statement made by Mr. President of his inauguration speech, and that's the statement that where he said fuel subsidy is gone, which of course started, which has remained at the root of the problems that Nigerians are facing today. Well, they have tried as much as possible to hide under the fact that it's not just in Nigeria alone, which is making matters worse. They went on at some point to say they were cutting down governance, and then they traveled to Dubai, where nations like Germany did not come go for such events because they couldn't afford it. Germany could not afford it. So Nigeria went with 1,400 and thereabout. And so you know what we're talking about. And so the same government came up with buying SUVs of over about 160 million for all members of the House of Assembly and House of Representatives and the Senate and everybody. And but then as if that was not enough, I think the president, in his nanimosity, in his magnanimity, he's trying also, to see how he can make things work, in the midst of it all. Went to Qatar recently after the fact that he asked to go to Qatar, to go into Qatar, and then they denied him. They said he can't come in. There was no need and all of that. And but then, of course, when there was uproar, people were saying that Qatar rejected Nigeria president. I think they eventually allowed him to come. And of course, you saw that trip. Even though Mr. President says that he is cutting down on expenses, governance expenses, I saw two of his children on that trip. I don't know when the movement to Qatar now became a family trip, if it was actually a national issue. It's one of the biggest problem we have in the polity of Nigeria is that we mix up things, and that's why we've not gotten things right. We mix things up. We mix up governance with family issues and all of that. The same way Sheyi Tinubu was sitting in Federal Executive Council meeting. What an insult. Sheyi Tinubu sitting in Federal Executive Council. But thank God for Mr. President, who actually rebuked him instantly and sent him out, which because it's a national issue. But then somehow he's still doing quite a number of things that are still not right, and which we believe that in due course those things will be corrected. But then the core of this particular video is where he now told them when he was rounding up his meeting with them in Qatar, told them that they should not offer bribe to anybody. That if anybody asks for bribe, they should report to him directly. And that's talking about people those who are coming to invest in Nigeria. Well, the first question that comes to my mind, okay, is it with the way we are now that somebody will come and invest his money in Nigeria? Then secondly, another question that comes to mind again is that does it now mean that you agree that you have corrupt people in the system. But then, well, you might say that, oh, you can't but have people like that amongst, there will always be a Judas. You understand? Or there will always be so many Judases among so many Peters and so many Johns and all of that. And so there will always be Peters. But I think it's passed more of a wrong message than the good one. You understand? Because not many people we see, when you wear a white dress and there is a black spot on it, the black spot, that tiny black spot becomes very obvious than even the whole of the white that you're wearing. And that's the fact. And so when you think that, when you go out and you say something like that, you have passed the message about the system that, look, you are coming into a corrupt system. I'm inviting you to come into a corrupt system. But when you see corruption, please tell me, which is wrong. Which is wrong. Yes, it's wrong. Well, I would not say that people, those who are handling the president's speech, should check certain things. But then, because most of these things that had caused major issues were things that were off script. It wasn't a script that Mr. President was reading when he said to them that if anybody asks for bribe, which was not wrong, but then take for instance, it wasn't everything that was said on that trip that we heard about, and that's the truth. It wasn't everything that was said on that trip that we heard about. So I think certain things are not supposed to be said in certain places and certain quarters. Take for instance, the issue of subsidy is gone. It's a major problem for us in Nigeria today. The big question is, between you and me, are we still not paying subsidy? Are we still not paying subsidy? Well, I think the president should do well to speak less, talk less, and act more. I think that's better. Speak less and act more. And so instead of telling Qatar people that if anybody asks for bribe, you should tell me or report that person to me, I think it's better that you are dealing with the corruption at home. That's like washing your your dirty linen outside. That's it. That's what Mr. President just did. That's what, anyway, but please feel free to drop your comment, make them simple and civil. Let us know what your opinions are on this particular one that Mr. President did in Qatar. Thank you very much for watching. This is still Serious Matters here at TV. Don't forget to share our videos with others, drop your comment, make them simple and civil. Thank you.